finally, we are getting the server transfers that we needed weeks ago. Welcome to this video. Today I'm going to talk to you about the server transfers which are coming up in this next maintenance. I'm going to go through all the things that have been discussed and some things that you really need to know so that you literally don't screw up your company. If you're in a company and you care about your company, you really need to listen to this video because you could lose your company name if you don't. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to hit that subscribe button first of all. But if you don't want to subscribe, that's cool. Just maybe hit that like button and then YouTube will show you my videos when it feels is relevant. If you want to get all the latest news, tips and tricks on New World, then hit that subscribe button and YouTube will just push that to your subscription feed. So anyway, let's get started. So the transfer process is designed so that you can move from one server to another server. And this was something that was promised at the early stages of the game after queues skyrocketed, leaving people queuing for literally a full day to get in. The queues reached up until 3 times the capacity of the server, in some cases even more. There were screenshots showing queues of 20,000 people, which is absolutely crazy. So as a response, Amazon have said, okay, you can transfer servers, just go on any server. We will sort out a transfer system. And that's fantastic. You know, we can't complain at that, but they were a little bit longer than they expected. Now, some of you may have noticed that in the store, there is a section about world transfer. There's nothing in there right now, but we're expecting on Wednesday, we're going to be having a kind of a token, which will allow you to transfer from server to server. So one thing that's really important to note is that these transfers are not going to be live the moment the game servers are live. What's going to happen is they're going to roll this out slowly just to make sure that things are going as planned. So they're going to put this onto the Australian servers first. They're going to let the Australians be guinea pigs, let them screw up their accounts so that the rest of the world and their priority customers, i.e. the Americans and the Europeans, sorry, only joking, but that's what's happening. They're letting the Australian servers test it first, probably because it's going to be quieter. And then if after 8 hours there've been no issues, then they're going to roll it out to the rest of the world. So let's hope that things go to plan when they roll this out in the Australian servers. Now, there are a few prerequisites in order to utilize this, and I'm going to go through those now. So what you actually need to do is you need to log into the game in order to do this. So you will have to wait through any queues. Hopefully there's going to be no queues right now. There's not been any queues on the servers that we've been playing on. I've not noticed any queues on any of the other servers. So hopefully you don't have to wait in any queues, which is pretty cool. Then you'll need to go onto the in-game store and collect your token from the store, which will allow you to sort of free purchase that transfer. The next step, you will need to actually leave the company that you're in. So you can't transfer while you're still in a company. You'll also have to cancel any of your active orders on the auction house. So go up to the trading post, cancel all your orders, actually buy orders and your sell orders. And the last requirement is you need to be in a sanctuary zone. And what that means is that you need to be in a town or one of the outposts. So, where you can go in and do fast travel. You need to be in one of those places in order to be able to actually transfer. So the dev team have answered several questions that community have been asking regarding the transfer to clarify some things. So let's go through these Q&A just dead quick, just to sort of give you a heads up. But this does include important information about the transfer. It is pertinent that you do listen to all of this. So how many times will you be able to transfer? So what they're doing is they're giving you one token, which will allow one transfer only. That's one per account, not per character. So you need to decide which character that you're going to transfer if you've made 2. Now, I can't really see any reason to want to main 2 characters on different servers and then have to transfer 2, but some people might be in that situation. So if that's you, then sorry, you're not going to be able to transfer both of them. But what they have said is that they will monitor the server populations and queue times. They're basically saying it's not out of the question to provide additional tokens in the future if they feel the need is there. It does seem like Amazon really care about their community and they do want them to be happy. In spite of the problems, nothing has been deliberate so far. They haven't intentionally made these errors. this is probably down to lack of experience. So there is that kind of feeling that they do care enough to want to help us if there's a problem. So I think, we do need to give them a little bit of credit for that. Now, one of the issues that was raised and one of the promises that was made when they announced this was that people could transfer across region. People, off the back of this confirmation, they just made characters wherever they could get in the world. So long as, they felt comfortable with the pings, then they made characters on different servers. Then Amazon have kind of backpedaled on that, and they've said, actually, no, we can only do this from the same region. So these transfer tokens are actually only available from servers within the same region that you're on. But what they have said is that they're looking at server transfer across region in the future. And that's something that they seem to be working on. So it's not out of the question, but it's a little bit sad for people who are in the position where they've made a character on the basis that they're going to be able to transfer it to their friends later. So if that's you, then I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait until they've sorted things out. The alternative is to just literally re-roll on the server that you want, which is not ideal. I completely appreciate that. And people have asked, is there going to be any kind of compensation, any XP boost for people in this situation? And Amazon didn't directly answer the question by giving us a hard yes or no. They just deflected and said they're working on future transfers from region to region. And this is just because it's like a bigger process to do. So it sounds like there's going to be no compensation of sorts for anybody that's been misled in this way, which is sad. And in spite of what I've just said about Amazon being caring, they did screw up here. Again, not intentional, I'm quite sure, but it happened. So there's been some question about whether whole companies can transfer over from server to server. And while yes, technically they can, there's no direct system to actually transfer a full company from server to server. That system's not in place. Each member has to do this individually. Now, this is something that is really, really important as a company. Now, if you are bothered about your company name, or if you think that your company leader may not be in the know, then share this information with them, because this is really important. The company, you must not rename that company. Okay, so if you rename that will essentially lock that name to that server. So what they've actually said that you need to do is when the last person leaves that company, then the whole company goes, what's the words that they used? Abandoned. The company will be abandoned, and then they said that the name will be available on other servers within minutes. So that's so important. I'm going to stress it again. Do not rename your company. Let everybody leave. If people are not communicating within the company, then I'd probably just kick them from the company, leaving you as the company leader. Leave them as the company leader, and then once everybody else has gone, leave that company, but do not rename it. That is so important, because I appreciate the importance of names in games. They're very, very, very precious to people, and I'd hate to think that somebody had lost their company name just through a technicality because the system isn't robust enough to deal with that scenario. So just let your company leaders know that, if you're worried, basically. So one other thing to consider when moving servers with big companies is that there is a server capacity, and that is still going to remain in place, because even though they're allowing you to move to any server, if that server becomes full, they will stop people from moving into that server. So what they're doing is they're going to alert people a day in advance of the server becoming locked. So it gives you that opportunity to coordinate a little bit better with your company and say, okay, we're all going to move to, Asgard, for example, on this particular day, on the condition that at this time, the server has not been indicated as full. So it gives you the ability to plan as a company. Amazon have confirmed that they will add more servers if necessary. Now, this is not a direct response to the transfer process. This is just an ongoing monitoring situation where if they feel that the servers are necessary, then they will add them. So someone did ask the question, is this going to happen? But not as a direct result as the transfers. So people are wanting to know what the time limit for the transfers is. So how long is this transfer window available for people? How long are they going to be able to take advantage of this transfer? So the good news is, once you've got the token, you've got the token, and that's it. You have that token for good. So you can transfer whenever. It sounds like you could transfer in a year's time if you wanted to. If that's what you felt was the right thing to do, then it sounds like that token is going to be available forever, indefinitely. So Amazon have advised that they're going to provide sort of information to help people decide which server they're going to transfer to ahead of time, but they've not been specific as to what that's going to contain. However, they did answer another question which kind of clarifies what information that they're not going to include into this sort of information tool, infographic, whatever they're calling it. And so what they're saying is that they're not going to include any information sort of about faction demographics or anything like that, because they say it fluctuates too much and it wouldn't be easy to track and relay that information to us. And finally, the last little bits of information that they've shared, just nothing super important. Your faction's not going to change when you switch. You're going to remain the same. My expectation is that there's not going to be a lot that you will perceive as difference. I imagine that if you log out in Windsward, do the transfer, you will log back in Windsward, and everything will look identical, with the exception that your server will have changed to a different name. And the last thing is, if you have some ongoing quests, these include the town board quests. It does not matter that you have changed the server. Even if the quests are different on the town board, you'll still be able to hand in the quests that you currently have active. I don't know if any of you have noticed this before. You may or may not have done. I'm guilty of this myself, like hoarding a lot of town board quests for a very, very long time. By the time that I've actually completed them, those quests have completely gone off the town board, but you do get a little button in the bottom corner that says complete all quests. You can tap that and it will literally redeem all the quests that you've completed. And my expectation is that this will be the same system when you switch server. Now, there's one thing that Amazon have promised us that they're going to give us as a thank you for our patience, is we are going to get an in-game title, and we are also going to get a new emote. So this is kind of like a waiting emote. And I mean, I'm not a big fan of emotes. I never really use them. They're too subtle. You can't really see them. So for me, that's like a whatever kind of situation. But I mean, you might use emotes. I don't know. I mean, do you use emotes? Let me know if there's like an emote which you like spam all the time. Yeah, let me know in the comments that. So that is pretty much everything that we know about the transfer system right now. I imagine this is probably everything that we need to know about the transfer system. So now we just need to sit and wait for this to be implemented. Hopefully we will see a new transfer system in place. So, what are your thoughts on transferring your characters from server to server? Are you happy where you are? Do you have like a guild, a company that's fractured across different servers? How are you planning on actually bringing people together? I think this is probably going to be the hardest part and the most logistical. This was going to really test the leadership qualities of some of the company leaders out there. So let me know what you think is the best way to get your company all together on the same server. Are you going to go within the same server group? Are you going to go to like an existing server that's like the majority of the company are on? Or are you going to all move to a completely different server group? I'm super interested to know how people are going to want to do this. We've got our thoughts, but we're still in discussion as to what we're going to do. So yeah, let's open up a conversation in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to check out this video in the top corner because you might like it a lot.